If when you wake up and the kids are happy and they're healthy, that's all you can ask for.
That's all you can ask for. Exactly right.
Best present in the world.
It really is.
I told him when he walked in, he's got maybe they can see it on our live stream, but he's got on a nice sharp new jacket this morning. Or pull over.
I just want to thank the staff at Central Office. They gave that to me for Christmas. It's got the Caldwell County Tigers emblem on it, and it's our colors, and it's
they did good.
Wonderful. They did a wonderful job, and I can't thank them enough for all they do for our school district each and every day.
I'll tell you, especially the ladies, man, she answers the phone and she's always so pleasant. I don't know how she does it.
I don't know. Well, it's a tough job. People think to answer the phone is easy, but there's a lot of times those phone calls are not very pleasant. And I can understand parents are upset because they're worried about their babies, and I can understand that. But we take that with everything that comes into us, and we answer that as best that we can.
Well, God bless her. She's the filter.
Yeah, and she is, and she does a fabulous job. I mean, all of them do. Diana and the patients and Miss Melissa. I mean, I'm just truly blessed to have Melissa be my secretary in my office. She's just absolutely fantastic.
I don't see how they do it. I really don't. But I don't think I've ever called there when they didn't. You can hear a smile on their face when they answer the phone.
They're very compassionate and they're very understanding, and they will listen because they're not, and they take down copious notes. I mean, sometimes I get two-page typed notes of this is what the parent is concerned about. Would you please call them?
I love that.
And we try to do our best to call the same day or maybe the next day, just to make sure we look at everything that's been turned in.
That's nice to know, though, and I want to make sure we don't normally say anything about those ladies, and I want to make sure that we say something.
We
because
are blessed in Caldwell County to have the faculty and staff that's working at Central Office, and to include all buildings. I mean, it's just not Central Office; it's every school in our district that they have phenomenal people working in the office, and they do a phenomenal job for us.
I'll tell you, it's been a few years back now, but when the boys especially started primary school, of course, especially with Eli, I was so overprotective and I was so scared to death. Those were my little ones, that's all I had.
Right.
And scared me to death. But there was a lady named Miss Stevens that used to be the secretary when they were there at the Caldwell County Primary School. I'm not sure if she still is or not.
No, I don't think
but
she is.
I'm going to tell you what, that woman
maybe she is.
Gave me more peace than anybody in
Jill
the world.
Stevens.
Yes.
Yeah, Jill's still there.
Is she still there?
Yes.
Because I love her to death, and she probably got me through that first year of my kids at primary more than anybody else in the world. I just adore her.
Well, she is on it every single day as far as taking care of kids and parents and the.
And Paulette Gray was pretty big on that too, boy. She really got me through there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I don't know what you'd do without all these people.
I'd be in
we can name them all day, Nate.
We probably can. There's not anybody in our school system that doesn't pull their weight.
I agree.
Really, if you walk into any building, and I just got to put hands in my hats off for the custodians, but you walk into any building, and it is as clean as any building in probably the nation, because they take personal pride in that school building.
The kids can tell you their names too.
I guarantee it.
But they're good with the kids. It's not just because they yell at the kids and stuff. They're really sweet with them.
They talk to them, and they build a relationship, and that's what it's all about. Is not only the custodians and the classified staff in our buildings, but everybody building relationships with our kids will help their educational environment.
We've had a lot of conversations over the last, I guess, few months, and one of the mamas and me had a good conversation yesterday about a unit and a unit that kids feel like they can go to and talk to if mom and dad may not be there, or maybe it's something they don't feel like they can talk to mom and dad about. There are things that, the kids have a really good unit there where they go to school here in Caldwell, and they've got a great support system from the Hope and Cope Center all the way.
Oh, Stephanie and Teresa and those folks, Miss Gilkey, they do a phenomenal job. I mean, to go out of their way, they go out of their way every single day. Of course, we all do, but they particularly do because all the kids in need, and they have it listed. I think we had 73 folks that were on the Christmas tree. That were taken care of, which totaled out to be about 143 kids total, 73 families. So, I mean, we did a phenomenal job with the Christmas program this year through the Hope and Cope. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful.
Well, I'll tell you, I've heard some stories, too, about some of these students. I know of a little boy that paid an electric bill for someone.
Right.
and that wasn't his family. He just felt the need to do so.
Act of kindness.
I've heard of a child taking off her jacket and giving it to another little girl that needed it worse than she did, and it was a brand new jacket. She just took it off her back and gave it to her. I have heard these kind of stories over the last week over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And these kids are learning some really good lessons, and they're doing it the right way. And I hope that continues this year.
Your heart will drive you to the right direction, and regardless of what you're doing. If your heart's in it and you have the compassion and the kindness for others, you're going to go a long way in your life.
Well, I think that starts at school, too,
It does
in a lot of ways.
And the teachers show that every single day in our classrooms.
No, I think that has a lot to do with it, and I'm proud of us. I think and even like, the Christmas tree and the presents and, Hope and Cope making sure that those backpacks full of food go home. And Farmers Bank has brought in these kids that are, outstanding students this year. So, it's been one program after another that's rewarded that, and I love seeing that.
And we also have the speech contest at the Rotary every year. We'll have that again this year for our kids. It's every organization throughout our community is focused on taking care of kids and helping them grow to be a productive citizen in our society.
I think that makes a difference.
It really makes a big difference. I'd just like to cover a couple of things that's gone on in Caldwell County High School, and we'll talk a little bit about the middle school as well. I didn't know if you know dual credit opportunities. How many dual credit opportunities do you think we have in our high school?
I don't know, to be honest.
We have 22 that are listed right now.
Oh, wow.
This semester. 22. We have college algebra, trigonometry, calculus, English, U.S. history, introduction to psychology, introduction to sociology, introduction to art, introduction to religion, basic chemistry, public speaking, biology and lab, ag communications, animal science, ag math, ag sales, plant science, ag leadership, nursing assistant skills, gas tungsten arc welding, shielded metal arc, blueprint reading lab. Those are the 22 that the kids are involved in this semester.
Well, now explain what that means. When you say dual, what does that mean?
That means they get college credit and high school credit.
Okay.
So we have 22 programs right now, and right now this year we have 117 enrolled. There's 279 total classes that they're looking at. Those 117 that are taking 837 college credits.
Oh, wow.
And they're paying $174 for 3 college credits. Right now, I'm sure that the 3 hours of college credits is well over $1,200 to $1,400.
Wow.
In a state college.
Wow.
Just think about that. And Rotary is also, I'm a member of Rotary here in Princeton, and we're trying to find a way to donate funds back to the high school to help these kids with those payments, especially for some of the kids that cannot afford that $174 that want to go to college and get that college degree. There is just
endless
so much
opportunity as far as any way they want to go, right?
And Christy Phelps and her leadership team, Mr. McClung, Mr. Noel, they are on it in that school building. Her counselors, they absolutely do a phenomenal job in making sure every kid gets a pathway for success in the high school.
I will say my daughter's a sophomore, and they've been helping her, try to find what she wants in college and what path to go down, and already looking at different colleges. And they do an excellent job of that.
Not everybody wants to go to college. Everybody thinks they need to go to college.
Right.
But our career and regional career center that we have, that we just recently remodeled last year, it is absolutely phenomenal as well. And there's so many classes that they can take there to get their pathway. And kids that are going to college are also taking the career classes in the ATC, the Regional Career Center. They're having a dual pathway. If college doesn't work out, at least I've got something. I've got a certification that I've got in school that will help me walk through my path of life.
Well, you know what? We need some plumbers and electricians and hands-on people in this area as well. And even adult education over there is fantastic.
It's exactly right. The enhanced learning opportunities that we have right now that we're looking at are 18 programs that we get involved with, and they're college and career program, on-site college placement testing, intensive reading program, free math tutoring Monday through Friday. Of course, our Rotary Speech Contest I mentioned earlier, Governor Scholar, All-State Band, Student Government, industry certificates through Career Pathways through the Career Center, Governor Schools for the Arts, international travel, college visits, extended schedules options, National Merit Program, differentiated instruction, ACT tutoring sessions, mental health counseling, and gap group one-to-one meetings. And that means we're looking at the kids that are falling behind a little bit so we can work one-on-one with them. And they actually look at that every single month. And they have lunchtime faculty meetings at the high school. It's the neatest thing I've seen in my 22 years in education. They bring their lunch into the meeting room there in the cafeteria. And the teachers, and they go through when their classes are eating, they bring their lunch in there with them, and Miss Phelps, and they go through different educational opportunities for kids while they're eating lunch, and they do that every month. I mean, that's phenomenal.
And that's, by the way, above and beyond what they have to do. I mean, they do that because they care.
Yeah, they're required to get at least 20-minute free lunch period. But they say, no, I'm in it. I'm in it to come in here to find out what we can do better for our kids. And they're looking at that each and every day at the high school. And of course, they're having the PLC meetings at the middle school and the elementary school, professional learning community meetings. They're doing that also at the lunchtime. So I mean, our faculty and staff are phenomenal in this school district, and I'm truly blessed to be the superintendent.
I think the kids know that and see that, though. I think they really and truly do. I think they see that that's going on, and they, Well,
they do. I mean, and they know that they actually care about it. When they come in, the high school administration, when a kid acts out and doesn't make the right choice and gets in trouble, they're in there talking to them, say, let's talk about what we did, instead of jumping down somebody's throat and saying, they talk to them like, we just don't need to do that. Tell me why you did that and why you shouldn't have done that, instead of talking down to them. They do a phenomenal job, as well as, of course, our middle school and our elementary schools do too. I mean, but they consider that kid to be their son or daughter, and they address that issue, and they make it personal, and they said, okay, how can we fix this? And before they walk out, the kid's not feeling so bad about himself. And there's a way to fix their situation and give them a better way to walk down that hallway. And in transition readiness, we've got 12 areas that we're looking at right now, and one-to-one scheduling, track students in career paths, working with the Regional Tech Center, weekly ACT strategies and practice, multiple opportunities to take the ACT in our school, end-of-program reviews for academic focus, multiple dual credit classes, as I've already talked about, college coach programs, ICEV ag industry certifications, school-wide reading passages and competition, keynote review groups, and testing, and just know our kids.
Right.
That's building that relationship with our kids throughout the building. And again, the high school, as well as all our schools, do a phenomenal job with that.
Oh, when you mention ag, that's the other thing, too, is that we have a lot of volunteers in the area through ag and FFA and farmers and that sort of thing, especially, through maybe the UK Extension Office. They put a lot of hours just volunteering with those kids.
They really do.
And making sure that, they get the real-life experience as well.
And I can't thank them enough, our local supporters that come in and to help us in our ag program. We have a phenomenal ag program with Mr. York and Miss Woods.
Right.
They do a phenomenal job with our kids. And we had the horse judging winners for the state champions this year.
I've never seen so many state winners of different things in my life as I have this year.
They're doing a phenomenal job, and they start this next month. Miss Woods and that crew will go out and go to different schools throughout the state to help with that, have ag programs and go through a program, which gives them some further education to get out and show others what they know and how they do their things.
I love that. It starts young with Rhonda Jewell and a lot of them at 4-H, and then it follows them all the way through high school. That's so important.
And one of the last things I want to talk about at the high school is the graduation rate. I mean, we were at 95.4, I think, last year. I mean, we do a phenomenal job with that. Intentional focus on students of dropout prevention. I mean, if they're going to look like they're going to drop out and they're 2 or 3 credits short, Ms. Phelps gets with her other administrators and the counselors, and they find a way to put maybe that student on an APEX class. It's an online class at the school that they can make up credits. We put them in there for a period to try to adjust their schedule so they're not going to fall short and graduate with their peers. I mean, they do, of course, the Cope and Hope Center involvement. Our guidance administration meet with the students that have the lower end of the grade spectrum each month. Annual career and college fair for parents and students. Of course, the Apex recovery I just talked about. We have 31 kids this semester that we've got on that they've identified early, so that we're not looking at the last semester saying we really got to buckle down and pick it up. Of course, Bruce McAllister and the other administrative staff for the home visits through the DPP work, and then we're looking at different ways in the Tiger Academy just to find a way for kids to find their niche and to be successful, because not everybody can handle a 21 or 22 or maybe 30 in a classroom with one teacher. They just can't handle that environment. So we're looking at ways there also to help kids to put them in a smaller
Not everybody
environment.
learns the same, and that's
and
okay.
They don't. Exactly right. I mean, I've got to touch it, taste it, look at it.
Stomp on it.
Stomp
that's
on
me
it, feel
right
it.
there.
I mean, I could read a book all day, but unless I'm involved in doing something hands-on with it, I don't know that I'm going to pick that skill up.
See, I was always that way, and I that's one of the things that I love is that and my daughter will even tell you, it even goes into band and that sort of thing with the opportunities they've got with all the new instruments and stuff that they're taking courses for this year. It seems like they don't necessarily say, well, this kid can't. They say, let's figure out how they can. And there's a very big difference in how a child's going to succeed for each one of those.
You're exactly right. And it's just a tough scenario for these kids. It really is. A couple other things I'd like to talk about at the high school. I'm looking at their board report that they submitted for the board for us to read in December. And it's a tradition, the day before Thanksgiving break, the CTE department conducts a school-to-work interviews. And I was a part of that this year. We had 30 businesses up there, plus myself, talking with kids and interviewing Miss Farmer's class. And they were interviewing for a job at Walmart. Huh. And I had 7 kids along with those other 29 business or 30 business leaders here in our community. We gave, we had a 5 to 10 minute interview, maybe 15 minutes, depending on how the discussion went. We didn't put a time limit on it. We just went through it and asked questions, and we kept the question and answering session going. And we talked about a position as a sales representative at Walmart. And they came in and they had their resumes all completed, and we went through that process.
Oh, your first resume can be that can be the most hair-raising thing in the world.
And every one of the 7 that I talked to did a fabulous job. And it was tough to determine who
got the job,
who got the best. I would have a tough decision to make. I'd like to hire all 7, but they all had great qualities, and you came across very professional. And it looked Mrs. Farmer did a phenomenal job getting those kids ready to do an interview.
I love that.
I mean, that is truly fantastic. And of course, every year our cafeteria staff does a phenomenal job, because we've got 3 weeks between Christmas and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and our staff does a phenomenal job with that Thanksgiving meal. Every student eats that lunch, and we know that they've had a great Thanksgiving meal, which may not happen once we close down for Thanksgiving break.
Well, and I think some of us take that for granted too. I mean, even my kids, you try to put it through to them that, look, don't take that for granted, because that's a meal that somebody that may be sitting next to you or the booth next to you, that may be the only Thanksgiving meal they have the entire time.
Exactly right.
And you may be the only family that they get to eat with.
Right.
And, you have these things that are, afforded to you and you're blessed with, but they may not. And that's, again, I think that goes back to teaching the kids some pretty...
You're exactly right.
Pretty great lessons.
Yeah, it does. Another thing, after Thanksgiving meal this year, the high school hosted a meal for city and county government employees at the electric plant board as a way to say thank you for being so helpful to our school district. They were pleased to have approximately 40 workers attend this meal. A special treat this year was that the library was decorated by our life skills class, and they served the tea and desserts as well. I can't describe to you the level of excitement they had.
Oh.